Prabhuji. Om Agyantivirandasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurum ilmitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Stute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे. Okay, so we'll start with the prayers from Srimad Bhagavatam as well. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udiraye. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमो पङ्कजनाभाय sorry नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्ग्रहे नमो ब्राह्मण्याय देवाय गोब्राह्मणहिताय च जगद्धिताय कृष्णाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे. So Hare Krishna to all, Dandavat Pranam to everyone. Uh, so I am actually not qualified to give a class. I'm just a monkey sitting here. I have no realizations, but the good part is if you try to give a class, you have to study. During that study, you definitely need to read the shastra. So that is the main motivation actually. But as I said, I have no qualifications, I have no realizations, but I'll still try to present something from Srimad Bhagavatam here. So today we will talk about Prithu Maharaj and his prayers in Srimad Bhagavatam. So there are, as we know, there are 9 limbs of bhakti, and Prithu Maharaj is actually so Archanam is one of the limbs of bhakti where deity worship, and Prithu Maharaj is the best example of it. So will discuss about who is Prithu Maharaj, and what how did he take birth, what are his activities, and then finally we will discuss about the prayers of Prithu Maharaj. So Prithu Maharaj actually offered very sweet prayers to the Supreme Lord when he appeared during the Ashwamedha Yajna. So Prithu Maharaj was performing some Ashwamedha. In fact, he was doing the 100th Ashwamedha Yajna, and there was some quarrel between him and um, Indra, and during that time, Lord Vishnu came to that Yajna arena, and Prithu Maharaj offered excellent prayers to the Supreme Lord then. So we will discuss those prayers, and we will also, as I said, we'll also talk about who is Prithu Maharaj and how did he take birth. So in the Prabhuji, can I share my screen?
Yes, Prabhuji, I gave you the permission already.
Okay. I am.
Were able to, Prabhu?
Yeah. Yes, I am. Huh? So you are able to see my screen, Prabhuji?
Yeah, it's coming up, Prabhuji. It's coming up. Yeah, we can see you.
Yeah.
We can see the screen.
Yeah. Okay. So so basically the Prithu Maharaj pastime actually comes in the 4th canto, and it comes after basically Dhruva Maharaj pastime. Dhruva Maharaj has actually gone back home, returns home, and then there is a fight with the yakshas, and Dhruva Maharaj finally goes back home to Godhead. Then there is this description of descendants of Dhruva Maharaj, and Prithu Maharaj is actually a descendant of Dhruva Maharaj. And so how is this? I mean, how is Prithu Maharaj related to Dhruva Maharaj? So basically, Dhruva Maharaj's eldest son was Utkala, and Utkala was very pious. He was very detached. He did not want to become king. So he actually saw Supreme Lord everywhere, and he was very detached. He wanted to retire. I mean, he did not want to take up any administrative role or any political role, and so though he was the eldest son, he was not made the king. So there was another son of Dhruv Maharaj called Vatsara, who became the king. And then Vatsara married Swarariti, and after a few generations, there was a king called Anga Maharaj in the descendants of Dhruv Maharaj. So Anga Maharaj actually is very pious king. He ruled the world. He was the king of the entire universe, and he ruled the world with piety and following all the regulative principles and following all the dharma and shastra. But he did not have any son, and so he actually did a yajna or sacrifice to get a son. And Anga Maharaj actually had a very bad son called Vena. So this conversation this conversation in Bhagavatam about Dhruv Maharaj and the descendants of Dhruv Maharaj is actually happening between Maitreya Rishi and Vidura. So Vidura actually asks a question to Maitreya Rishi that why did Anga Maharaj get a bad son called Vena? So then uh, Maitreya Rishi explained actually that Anga Maharaj, since he was very pious king and he used to perform yagnas, so the devtas used to manifest in his yagnas and accept the oblations from directly from there. So, but once Anga Maharaj was doing the yagna and the devtas were not coming, so so he asked his guru why this is happening. Then his guru explained that since you do not have a son, I mean, he asked whether have I done something wrong, have I committed some mistakes, why are the devtas not coming and accepting their offerings. So so the sages or the guru explained to him that since you do not have a son, the devtas are not coming, and you have not done any sinful activities, but you should get a son. So so then and for that what you should do is you should perform a yagna for Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu will bless you with a son. So so Anga Maharaj actually performed a yagna, and during that yagna, the the deity came and it offered uh, Anga Maharaj, it offered young Anga Maharaj with a pot of payasam. And Anga Maharaj, being Anga Maharaj's wife name is Sunita, and she is actually daughter of Mrityu. So Anga Maharaj, being very liberal, gave all that payasam to her wife Sunita, who is the daughter of Mrityu. And so after she ate the payasam, she became pregnant, and that's how a son was born whose name was Vena. But this son, Vena, actually instead of taking the qualities of Anga Maharaj, took all the qualities of his maternal grandfather, who is Mrityu. So, so he got all the bad qualities. He was very cruel. Uh, he was uh, he was not. I mean, he used to, in fact, kill his playmates. He used to kill his innocent. He used to kill innocent children and innocent animals. So, so he was very cruel. And Anga Maharaj actually tried very hard to reform him. Um, but 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 it but Vena actually became more cruel as he grew up, and Anga Maharaj was very distressed because of this. um, so he had a thought that, I mean, he thinks that maybe having no son is good. I mean, instead of having a bad son, having no son is better. And we can see that even today, right? If you have a bad son, he may ruin everything. He may ruin all your piety, he may ruin all your wealth, he may ruin all your opulences and everything. So so that's what's the thought of Anga Maharaj, that instead of I having such a bad son, if I did not have a son, it would be better. But then again he thought that maybe having a bad son is also good, because then I can get detachment. I mean, I can get detached from this family life and I can retire. So so he actually decided to leave the kingdom and go to forest. Now the question would be like, is it having a good son or bad son? But that's not the point. The point is to develop detachment, and that's what Anga Maharaj is showing here, that but whatever you get, it's all fate, and then you just develop detachment and try to serve the Supreme Lord. So so I mean, we generally see that we are all put into difficult situations, but we do not want to get into the difficult situations of life. But these difficult situations can lead to impetus, where we when can give us impetus to actually serve the Lord, and uh, to pray to him, and to basically do devotional service. So so these difficulties can also be an impetus to for some of the people to improve their bhakti actually. And it is one of, I mean, even Krishna says that, right? Who those people who are distressed, come to me, right? In Bhagavad Gita we have seen that. So so that's what is Anga Maharaj showing here. And we can even see these in the prayers of Kunti Maharani, where she's praying to the Lord that give me difficulties so that I can remember you. Um, so Pandavas faced a lot of difficulties, like Bhima was poisoned, their house was burned, the daughter-in-law was Draupadi was distraught. They were attacked by man-eaters like Hidimba, and so on and so forth. So so the another example of this distress is Vidura himself. Actually, Duryodhana wanted to. Duryodhana told Vidura that I banish you from this kingdom. Who are you? Why are you trying to? Basically, he was trying to explain to Duryodhana that do not fight with Maharaj Yudhishthir. So he was not in favor. I mean, he was trying to give advice, which according to Duryodhana was in favor of the enemies. So he just wanted to basically uh, throw him out of the kingdom, and he told Vidura that the breath in your nostrils is just the remuneration that we give you for the services you have done to the throne, and please get out from here and get lost from the kingdom. So Vidura, I mean, took this as an opportunity. He went on a pilgrimage, and he did not become disheartened, discouraged, disappointed, devastated. So this is these are examples where the difficulties in life can be a blessing, right? So they become a blessing, and you can utilize those difficulties to make progress in bhakti. So that's what Anga Maharaj thought, and he just left the kingdom. Now the descendants or the sages there in the kingdom, now there was no king. So the rogues and the robbers, since there was no king, they started making trouble in the kingdom. And then so the sages thought that let's have a king. So they, Vena being the son of Anga Maharaj, they crowned him as the king. So the sages actually appointed Vena as the king, but Vena was very cruel. Now the king is supposed to protect the citizens, but Vena was totally opposite. He instead of protecting the citizens, he was trying to torture them and exploit them. And so there were problems in the kingdom because of that. And the Brahmanas or the sages understood that these problems will also destroy our tapasya, and will be detrimental even for our spiritual practices. So they met at one place, and they thought what should be done. So uh, so they um, so they basically they then decided that let's go and talk to Vena, and try to explain to him that what he is doing is not correct, and try to put some sense into his head. But Vena being such a cruel king, he was not ready to listen or understand anything to what the sages was saying. So finally, the sages decided to kill him, and by the tapasya of their mantra, I mean, they by their power of their tapasya, they killed him with the mantras. So they just chanted some mantras, and Vena was killed actually. So so Sunitha was the mother. She actually preserved the body of Vena using some oils and herbs, and she preserved the body of Vena. Now again the kingdom, again the same problem, right? The kingdom is without a king. So what do we do next? So the sages, uh, so the sages again thought what should be done. And you can see here that the Brahmanas or the sages, they are not just behind their own rituals or only their practices or only their daily routine, but they looked after the entire, I mean, they were concerned about the people, and they were trying to make sure that there is peace in the kingdom. So the Brahmanas, as we can see, that they exhibited those qualities at that time. that they were concerned for the people, and they wanted peace and prosperity in the kingdom. And that's why the king in ancient times used to depend on those brahmanas to rule the kingdom, because the brahmanas provided correct advice, and based on that the king would rule the kingdom. um, so again the brahmanas met, and then they thought what should be done. So they decided that they would get a son. I mean, Vena was the king, and so that lineage must continue. So what they did is they churned Vena's thighs first. And so when they churned Vena's thighs, uh, uh, actually a son was born. I don't know, remember the name. Is, I think they uh, is Bakula, I think. And these are all from the Nishat community or the tribal people. So they live in the uh, mountains and others, and they are cruel. So that person was born, and that's how the cruel nature of Vena was actually transferred to them. And then they churned the hands of or the hands or the limbs of Vena. And from there, Prithu Maharaj and Archie, his consort, was born. Now they were not born as small children, such that they grew up and then they ruled the kingdom, but they were born as adults. And since they were born from the body of Vena, they are not brothers and sisters. But Prithu Maharaj is actually the Saktavesha avatar of Lord Vishnu. And uh, so so that's how Prithu Maharaj is born. Actually, he's born from the body of Vena. And um, and he was then coronated as the king. So when he was coronated, now Prithu Maharaj, as I said, is a Shaktavesha avatar, and he is the empowered with the Shakti of the Supreme Lord. Actually, the Shakti of the Palana Shakti, where the administrative power, right? Basically, to take care of the praja, or take care of the citizens of the world. So that's how Prithu Maharaj is born, and his direct incarnation or Shaktavesha avatar of the Supreme Lord. And when then he was coronated as the king. When he was coronated, the different he received different gifts from different people. Like Kuvera gave him a golden throne to sit, Varuna gave him an umbrella, Vayu gave him the chamars, and then Dharmaraj gave him a rod, basically a punishing rod, so that the king has a rod. And I mean, it shows the authority of the king, basically. Then Brahma gave him an armor, which is full of armor, and it is also even has spiritual knowledge. So it's full of spiritual knowledge, the armor which Brahma gave. And then Lord Hari gave him the Sudarshan Chakra. Mata Saraswati gave him the transcendental necklace to wear. And Lakshmi ji gave him imperishable opulences. So that's how Prithu Maharaj was coronated as the king. And uh, so when he was coronated, there are many professional singers or bards which started praising Prithu Maharaj. So Prithu Maharaj actually did not like that, because he said that I have not demonstrated those qualities, and so I am not. Since I have not even demonstrated those qualities, they you did not actually glorify me. And uh, and also, in an assembly where um, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Lord Vishnu is there, you need to glorify them rather than me. So that's how he tried to stop the his glorification. And this also shows the humility of Prithu Maharaj. He was very humble, and very saintly. So uh, and and even the word Prithu actually means being famous. Still, though he was I mean, the activities which he will do made him very famous, but he was very, very humble. And the uh, and that's how he ruled the kingdom with humility. uh, so this is what is the appearance of Prithu Maharaj. And then Prithu Maharaj, the qualities of Prithu Maharaj are also described. Then Prithu Maharaj is compared to a to sun god, just like the sun god spreads the sunlight everywhere. So the affection of Prithu Maharaj is spread throughout, and he does not distinguish. Other way is like, since the sun evaporates the water, right, and then gives back the rain. So similarly, Prithu Maharaj collects taxes from the people, and then when they need it, he gives them back, so that they can use it. And I mean, that's how he administers the kingdom. He's also even compared to Earth, in the sense that he is very tolerant. And even though people may trample him, or but he is very, very tolerant. So these are the qualities. Is compared to Indra because he has a lot of opulences. Is compared to Varuna. So all these descriptions are given in these chapters related to Prithu Maharaj. um, right. Now there is another thing. Uh, so so the Prithu Maharaj started ruling the kingdom, and the subjects were happy. Now during this period, some of the his subjects actually came to Prithu Maharaj and said that they are getting tormented by hunger. And so Prithu Maharaj listened to their problem, and then he meditated and understood that Mother Earth is not giving any grains, or Mother Earth is not giving any food or something like that. So then he actually uh, took up his bows and arrows, and wanted to attack Mother Earth. So Mother Earth actually took a form of a cow, and she started running. So Prithu Maharaj actually followed her, and wanted to kill her. Um, so Mother Earth, but she was in the form of a cow. Now, so Mother Earth tried to run, but she could not, and wherever she went, Prithu Maharaj followed her. So Prithu Maharaj actually he did not want to kill her. Basically, he wanted to threaten her, such that she can then give the grains and all. So Prithu Maharaj is very pious, and he knows the religious principle very well. So that's why he did not want to kill her, but wanted to make sure that his citizens are happy and prosperous. So he tries to attack Mother Earth, and then Mother Earth, in the form of a cow, she understands that she cannot. I mean, she basically surrenders to Prithu Maharaj, and then Prithu Maharaj asks her a question: Why are you not giving food, or why are you not producing food? And so Mother Earth actually explains that I was being ruled by Vena, and he was very cruel, and all my produce was being used to exploit me, and devilish people or devils were trying to enjoy this. So that's why I've stopped producing the food grains. uh, so 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 but now, since you are a pious king, and you are righteous, I will again start giving grains. So that's how Mother Earth actually uh, then I mean, Prithu Maharaj actually tries to milk Mother Earth. So it's explained that Prithu Maharaj, I mean, then different personalities come and milk Mother Earth, and then different things are produced. So it's all explained in this context. So some people try to get beverages, some food grains, and so on and so forth. So there is a very vivid description of all that in the Bhagavatam. Now and Mother Earth also explained to Prithu Maharaj that you can make me flat, and you can increase the prosperity of your citizens, so that they will have more land to cultivate, and so on and so forth. So she explained how to do that. And Prithu Maharaj actually was the first person he actually segregated things into cities, villages, towns. So he was the original town planner, Prithu Maharaj. So he did all this, and he was the original one to do all this kind of town planning and everything. So this is the background of Prithu Maharaj. You can see Prithu Maharaj milks the planet. So these are all the chapters starting from 13th to till here. Uh, Prithu Maharaj milks the Earth planet. Okay. Now, since Prithu Maharaj started ruling the Earth, he also did Ashwamedha Yagyas, and so he did 1, 2, 3, not 1, 2, 3, but he did like he wanted to, he started doing Ashwamedha Yagas, and he actually finished 99. Now once he finished 90, Indra was one who got really uh, I mean, he was not happy. He got envious of Prithu Maharaj, and he also become concerned because Indra got his position by doing 100 Ashwamedha Yagyas, right? So there is kind of a now, if Prithu Maharaj completes 100 Ashwamedha Yagyas, he will lose his position, Indra, and Prithu Maharaj might take his position. So he got concerned and wanted to actually not allow Prithu Maharaj to complete the 100 Ashwamedha Yagyas. So he when Prithu Maharaj finished 99, when he was doing the 100th Ashwamedha Yagya, Indra came and he stole the sacrificial horse, and he started going towards the outer planetary system. So the spiritual master of Prithu Maharaj saw this, and he instructed Prithu Maharaj's son to follow Indra and get back the horse. Now, Prithu Maharaj's son attacked Indra. So Indra actually took a form of a sadhu, and the son of Prithu Maharaj was trained by Prithu Maharaj to not attack sadhus. So he did not attack him, and Prabhupada writes in that purport that this is how the up sampradaya started. People wearing saffron robes and trying to fool the people. So that's where Indra did that. But uh, but uh, but the spiritual master of Prithu Maharaj understood this, and he again instructed the son of Prithu Maharaj to attack Indra and get back the horse. So, but Prithu Maharaj got very, very angry with Indra. I mean, so Prithu Maharaj's son brought back the horse. He again took it. So this happened 1 or 2 times, and Prithu Maharaj then became very angry, and he wanted to kill Indra. So, but the Brahmanas who were doing the Ashwamedha Yagya, they told Prithu Maharaj that since we are doing a yajna and we should not kill Indra, what we will do is we will kill him by our mantras. So we will chant mantras, and the way we chant mantras, it will happen that Indra will fall down in the sacrificial fire and die. So you need not worry about killing Indra, but you simply perform the yajna, and we will take care of Indra. So Prithu Maharaj, they started doing the yajna, and they started chanting the mantras, and when they were about to offer the final oblations, that's when Lord Brahma appeared, and he told the Brahmanas and King Prithu Maharaj that please forgive Indra, and you should not fight with Indra. He is a representative of the supreme. I mean, he is serving the Supreme Lord. So he should be forgiven, and you should not try to kill him. And Lord Vishnu also appeared at that time. And what did Lord Vishnu do? He told Prithu Maharaj that okay, no problem. You have done 99 Ashwamedha Yagya. Uh, you do not do the 100th one. I will give you all the benedictions you want for what you have already done. So with 99, I'll give you all the benedictions which you might get by doing 100 yagnas. So there is no question of doing. I mean, there is no problem now. That's how they reached a compromise, or that's how the I mean, that's how the compromise was reached, and Lord Vishnu appeared in front of Prithu Maharaj. And that's when, I mean, Prithu Maharaj, being a devotee of the Lord, he was very, very happy to see Lord Vishnu being present there. And uh, so he then actually he was in ecstasy, and his eyes were filled with tears, and by seeing the Lord. And that's when Prithu Maharaj offered prayers to the Supreme Lord, and those are the prayers that we will now look at. Okay, so they are part of the 20th chapter. Right, the prayers of Kunti Maharani, some are very intense, some are trying to I mean, we have intense prayers, or we have very prayers trying to surrender to the Supreme Lord. So there are many prayers like Bhishma Stuti, prayers of Kunti Maharani, Prahlad Maharaj's prayer. So the Srimad Bhagavatam is filled with lot of prayers, and Prithu Maharaj offered prayers to the Supreme Lord, which are very, very sweet, and that's what we will look at now. So the prayers start from text 23 and till 31. So we'll try to go through these prayers and understand what Prithu Maharaj prayed to the Supreme Lord. These prayers are actually very, very I mean, it teaches us how to pray before the deities. They are very sweet prayers, and um, they I mean, it is a, like, we generally think that the prayers of exalted souls, I mean, we cannot pray like them, right? Like, we cannot pray like Kunti Maharani asking for troubles. I mean, I mean, you might learn those verses, and while learning those verses, the Lord may say tathastu. I mean, you, and then you start getting problems. So we cannot pray like Bhakti Vinod Thakur, or like, I mean, maybe we cannot pray like those people. But these prayers of Prithu Maharaj actually teach us how to pray before the deities, and they are very, very sweet. And let's go through them now. Okay, so uh, I will read the verse, and then somebody can follow, right? So Srimad Bhagavatam 4.20.23. पृथुर उवाच वरान् विभो त्वद् वराद्वे वरा द्वेश्वराद् बुधा कथं वृणते गुणा विक्रयात्मनां ये नरकानाम् अपि शान्ति देहिनां तन् ईशा कैवल्यपते वृणेन च. So this prayer, the first prayer of Prithu Maharaj, he actually describes what he doesn't want. Vrine nacha, I don't want this. Okay, so let's look. Somebody wants to repeat?
Yes, Prabhu, I'll try.
Yeah.
Prithur uvacha varan vibhotvad varadeshwarad buddha katham vrinite guna vikriyatmanam ye narakanam apishanti dehinam tan isha kaivalyapate vrinena cha.
Okay, so let's read the translation. um, my dear Lord, you are the best of demigods who can offer benedictions. So that's what Varad Ishwarat, right? The highest bestower of the benedictions. That's what Prithu Maharaj is referring to the Supreme Lord. Why, therefore, should any learned person ask you for benedictions meant for living entities bewildered by the modes of nature? So vrinte, I mean, guna vikriya. That's what it means. Bewildered by the modes of material nature. I mean, Prithu Maharaj is asking, why should I ask for benedictions? I mean, I don't want any benediction which will bewilder me, or which will or any material benedictions. I don't want any material benedictions. Such benedictions are available automatically even in the lives of living entities suffering in hellish conditions. right? Narakanam, right? Narakanam, Kanam, of the living entities living in hell. So that's what he's trying to say. I don't want such benedictions which are automatically available even for entities suffering in hellish conditions. So he doesn't want wealth, health, fame, name, right? These are all available even for people who are suffering in hellish conditions. My dear Lord, you can certainly bestow merging into your existence. That's what it's meant by Kaivalyapati. That's why the Supreme Lord is called Kaivalyapati, right? But I do not wish to have such a benediction, right? So Prithu Maharaj here clearly is talking about what he doesn't want from the Supreme Lord. So that's the first thing he's telling the Supreme Lord, that I do not want anything material or anything, any opulence or any kingdom, because see, he was doing 100 Ashwamedha Yagyas. So the Supreme Lord might think that he wants some material benedictions, or that's what he may want. So but Prithu Maharaj is making it very clear that I don't want any of these. And the important thing, I mean, we can look at some of the important points here, which Prabhupada has put in his purport. uh, there are different kinds of benediction according to a person's demands. So for karmis, the best benediction is promotion to the higher planetary systems. For jnanis and yogis, merging into the Lord, and that's what. And the Supreme Lord can grant all of this, and so he's called Kaivalya. I mean, he can grant the benediction of merging into existence of the Lord. Um, but for the devotees, they do not want such benedictions. The devotees do not even care for the position held by Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva, nor does a devotee desire to become equal to the Supreme Lord, right? All they want is they want to serve the Lord. So that is what the devotees want. And that's why we see even in Srimad Bhagavad Gita that we talk about jnanis, yogis, and what they get, right? So that is what is coming out from here. The jnanis, yogis want a benediction to merge into the existence of the Lord, correct? So this is the first shloka of the or the prayers offered by Prithu Maharaj. Now, since Prithu Maharaj has explained what he does not want, he will now talk about uh, what he wants, right? Uh, so let's go to the next shloka. न काम्येनाथ तद अपि अहम क्वचिन् न यत्र युष्माच् चरान् अम्बुषा स्वः महात्मानंतर हृदयान मुखाच्युतो विधास्त्वा करण्यान करना युतम एषा मे वरः. So anybody wants to repeat? Okay, we'll look at the translation. So my dear Lord, I therefore do not wish to have the benediction of merging into your existence, a benediction in which there is no existence of the nectarian beverage of the lotus feet. So he is asking for the nectarian beverage of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Now, what does it mean? I mean, so he's asking for this. Now I want the benediction of at least 1 million years. So he's asking for what? He's asking for 1 million years. I want a benediction of 1 million years. I mean, imagine somebody having a body with 1 million years. So I mean, nobody will ask for such kind of benediction. And why is he asking for that benediction? For thus I may be able to hear about the glories of your lotus feet from the mouths of your pure devotees. Right? Mahatmanantar Hridayan Mukho Achyutta. Right? So where is this beverage of the nectarian beverage of the lotus feet of the Lord stored? It is stored in the heart of the pure devotees of the Lord. And how does this nectar come out? When they glorify the Supreme Lord, right? This is what is mentioned here. When the pure devotees of the Lord glorify the Lord, that's where that's when that nectar of the or the nectar of the uh, lotus feet of the Supreme Lord is produced, and he wants to have a 1 million years to actually receive this nectar. Now, I mean, we can think of it like in a perverted way, that somebody his demand. In a perverted way, if you think it like somebody may want liquor, right? Now, when you want some beverage, you need some container, right, to take that beverage, and so the container what Prithu Maharaj is demanding here is, or asking for, is 1 million years. I want 1 million years. I mean, he wants to have that big a container where he can get so much nectar that so that he can drink. I mean, he's asking for that, right? So that is what Prithu Maharaj is asking here. And uh, so we now looked at what he does not want and what he wants. Now, generally, when in Krishna consciousness, so we should also be aware of what we want and what we do not want. I mean, we cannot just focus on. I mean, as I mean, I heard in the lecture from Lalit Mohan Prabhu, right? Be conscious of Krishna and be cautious of Maya, right? Now, we need both of these. We don't, and it's not that we just become conscious of Krishna. But what will happen if we just become only conscious of Krishna and not cautious of Maya? I mean, we don't know the dangers then. I mean, take an example like driving, right? When you are driving, you might see some signs where it shows that there is danger ahead, like if you have a steep curve, or if there is a school, something like that, right? So if somebody who is a reckless driver, I mean, he's not aware of the dangers, that may lead to an accident. And similarly, if we are not I mean, if we are just I would say become very conscious, very cautious of Maya, or we become too obsessed, right? Now it is something similar to a driver who is over cautious, or is extremely cautious and sees a danger sign and just stops, right? So then he cannot reach the destination. The destination is to reach Krishna, right? So that's why we need both of these, and that's why Prithu Maharaj is saying what I don't want and what I want. Similarly, we should also be aware of what we want in our life, and what we don't want. So, and both the things are very important in our practice of bhakti. That I want Krishna, and at the same time I don't want Maya. But don't become over obsessed with trying to avoid something, or trying to trying to become too cautious, right? I mean, if you I mean we think, if we take if you think about it, like let's say we are doing Ekadashi Vrat. Now we'll have Nirjala Ekadashi coming, right? Now, if you continuously think that I will not drink water, I will not drink water during Nirjala Ekadashi day, you will ultimately land up doing that only, because you are extremely focused on that. But instead of that, if you focus on your routine work and routine activities, then you may not land up, I mean, you may not break your fast. It might just pass as normally. So there is a saying, right? Something which you try to resist actually persist, right? So if you try to resist a thing a lot of time, you will ultimately do the same thing. So that's why in our practice of bhakti also, we must be try to maintain this balance of being what we want and what we do not want, and do not become uh, one sided, or become too obsessed with Maya, or become, I mean, just only, I mean, we have to be careful about this. Okay, any questions till now? Okay, so Prithu Maharaj has now described what he wants. Now, why does he want this? So he describes this in the next verse. Uh, so 4.20.25. Sa uttama shloka mahan mukha achyutto bhavat padam bhoja sudha kananele smritim punar vismrita tattva vartanam kuyoginam no vritta vitarati alambarahe. So the translation is, my dear Lord, you are glorified by the selected verses uttered by the great personalities. Such glorification of your lotus feet is just like saffron particles. When the transcendental vibrations from the mouths of great devotees carries the aroma of the saffron dust of your lotus feet, the forgetful living entity gradually remembers his eternal relationship with you. Devotees thus gradually come to the right conclusion about the value of life. My dear Lord, I therefore do not need any other benediction but the opportunity to hear from the mouth of your pure devotees. Right? So what Prithu Maharaj is asking here, I mean, I need this 1 million years so that I can hear about your glories from your devotees. And he is, I mean, he's actually asking for the companionship of his of the devotees of the Lord, right? The devotees of the Lord are, I mean, is very important. I mean, he does not want to practice bhakti in seclusion, but he wants to continuously be associated with the devotees, and be able to hear the glories of the Lord from the mouth of the pure devotees. uh, so so you see this, he's saying smritir puna vismrita, so that the devotees actually make me remember you. I may forget you, but I'm a ku yoginam, so I'm not a, I'm a ku yoginam is of persons not in the line of devotional service. I am a ku yoginam, but with the association of the devotees, I will continuously remember you, and since I will remember you, I will become purified, right? So that is what is Prithu Maharaj asking for, and he's saying that I want the association of the devotees, and that's what we also see. Uh, and we have always heard from Lilananda Prabhuji and others that we should never leave the association of the devotees, and that's what even Prithu Maharaj is bringing it out here, that uh, that you have to be in association of the devotees, and the devotees will always make sure that you remember Krishna. That's what is the uh, that's what brings, that's the power of association of devotees. Even if you try to forget Krishna, the devotees will make sure that you remember him, and once you remember him, your consciousness will get purified and you will make progress. So that's why in our society we always stress, right? Keep, have association of devotees, always be in association of devotees. And Prithu Maharaj in this sloka is actually bringing out that only. So uh, let's, yeah, and Prabhupada also in his purport actually is bringing another important point, that it is very important to hear from the mouth of a pure devotee who is fully surrendered without any material desire. Or every one of us is yogi because we have engaged in the service of this material world. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the process of hearing from a pure devotee is recommended, and not from somebody who is a bogus spiritualist. So we should hear only from someone who is in parampara and has surrendered to the Supreme Lord, and not from somebody who is uh, who makes a show off of spirituality, right? Somebody who's engaged in the loving service of the Lord, that is where we should hear from, and to make progress in the spiritual understanding, right? Let's move ahead. Yeah. Now the next prayer, he says, Yasha Shivam Sushrava Arya Sangame Yad Achraya Chop Ashronati Te Sikrat Katham Gunajno Viramed Vinapashum Shrir Yat pravarare guna sangarachya sanga achreya. So, my dear highly glorified Lord, if one in the association of pure devotees hears even once the glories of your activities, he does not, unless he is nothing but an animal, give up the association of devotees. For no intelligent person would be so careless as to leave their association. See, so Prithu Maharaj is comparing someone who leaves the association of a devotee to an animal, right? Unless he is nothing but an animal, gives up the association of devotees, right? So the another important point that is being brought up is, as I said even in the previous shloka, right? So association of devotees is very important, and if you give up the association, Prithu Maharaj is actually comparing that person to an animal. The perfection of chanting and hearing about your glories was accepted even by the goddess of fortune, who desired to hear of your unlimited activities and transcendental glories. So, Prithu Maharaj is asking us to be in association of devotees, and wants us to. He's actually. He's asking a very big benediction here. He actually wants to serve the lotus feet of the Lord, just like Lakshmi Devi serves the lotus feet of the Lord. He basically wants to serve Lord Vishnu uh, by like what how Lakshmi Devi serves the lotus feet of the Lord, and that's what is the benediction actually he's asking for here. Uh, right? Shrir Yatta Pravarare, right? The goddess of fortune accepted. He's wants to actually serve the Lord, like how Lakshmi Devi is serving the Lord, and so that's what his slow. So that's how it happens, right? Once we hear about the Lord, then from here we develop from service we will develop attraction, and once we develop attraction, we want to serve the Lord, right? By hearing we develop attraction, and once we develop attraction we want to serve, and that's what is happening with that's what Prithu Maharaj is saying here, that once I want to serve you, and I want to serve you in a way that like Lakshmi Devi is serving you your lotus feet, right? And uh, and then Prabhupada also explains this in this purport, that what is an Arya, right? Somebody, there is a word which has come, Arya Sangame, right? So who is an Aryan? Aryan is someone who wants to make spiritual progress. So the Aryan race, when we talk about, it's all about people who want to make spiritual progress, right? So he, and somebody who is intelligent would associate with an Arya, right? They will associate with somebody who's trying to make advancement spiritually. So and the Aryan family is disturbed all over the world and is known as Indo-Aryan. So that's what Prabhupada is telling about Aryan race or Arya Sangame, that word which has come here, that in the association of advanced devotees we can make progress. Okay, let's move to the next shloka. So अथा भजे त्वलिका पुरुषोत्तमं गुणालयं पद्म करे करेवलालसः अपि अवायोर एकापति स्पर्धो कालिर्नाशयात् कृतात्वा चरणानिक चरणायिका तनयो.
Prabhuji, I will read.
Okay.
Adha bhaje twakila purushottamam gunalayam padmakare valasaha apya vayoreka sprudho kalirnasyat krutatvacharanaika tanayoh. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you. So see, now I wish to engage in the service of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and to serve just like the goddess of fortune, right? So he wants to serve the lotus feet of the Lord just like the goddess of fortune, who carries a lotus flower in her hand, because his lordship, the supreme personality of Godhead, is the reservoir of all transcendental qualities. I am afraid now what will happen if I try to, I mean, if Prithu Maharaj wants to serve the Supreme Lord just like Lakshmi Devi. So what he's trying to say is, I am afraid that the goddess of fortune and I would quarrel, because both of us would be attentively engaged in the same service. So Prithu Maharaj is now he's asking for a service, and he's afraid that goddess of fortune will become angry with him, and it may lead to a quarrel. But uh, what he's trying, he's also explaining to the Lord that I will not quarrel with Lakshmi Devi. What I will do is I will only focus on your lotus feet, and I will not quarrel with her, right? Tvat charana, onto your lotus feet. I eka tanayo, one attention, with one focused attention, I will serve your lotus feet, and hence I will not quarrel with Lakshmi Devi. So he has asked for a benediction, and then he is now explaining the Lord, or that please grant me this benediction, and I will not quarrel with Lakshmi Devi. Now, why do you think he is trying to explain all this? Because just, I mean, before this past, like before these prayers, there was a quarrel between Indra and Prithu Maharaj. So the Supreme Lord might think that, right? I mean, 5 minutes or 10 minutes before, there was a quarrel going on between Indra and Prithu Maharaj. And so Prithu Maharaj might even quarrel with Lakshmi Devi. So that's why he's trying to explain to the Lord that no, 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 I will not quarrel with Lakshmi Devi. I will serve your lotus feet with one pointed devotion and attention, and I will not quarrel with her. Uh, so that's what he's saying here. That I want to serve your lotus feet just like goddess of fortune, and there might be now there is a word called spardha, right? There will be a spardha between her and me to serve your lotus feet, but I will not quarrel with her. I will only with one pointed attention try to serve your lotus feet. That's what Prithu Maharaj is now putting his point to the Supreme Lord, that please give me this service. Okay. See, and there is a very important point here. Prithu Maharaj desired to serve the Lord with the goddess of fortune, but this desire does not mean that he was situated on the platform of Madhurya Rasa. The goddess of fortune is engaged in the service of the Lord in the ras of Madhurya, conjugal love. Although her position is on the chest of the Lord, the goddess of fortune, in her position as a devotee, takes pleasure in serving the lotus feet of the Lord. Prithu Maharaj was thinking only of the lotus feet of the Lord because he is on the platform of Dasya Rasa, or servitorship of the Lord. Right? He's not trying um, to actually take the place of Lakshmi Devi. Right? He's just wanting a service where he can serve like Lakshmi Devi. Right? Uh, and 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 so in the next verse, actually he clarifies that point also. He says that Lakshmi Devi is Jagan Mata, right? She is the mother of the whole universe, and there is no question of his competing with her on the platform of Madhurya Rasa, right? And he, as I said, right, he thinks that she might take offense of this, uh, but uh, but but he's only, I mean, I am not trying to, he makes it clear to the Lord that I'm not trying to compete with her, but I will serve you with one pointed devotion. Okay. uh, so the verse actually starts with that. Jagat jananyam jagat isha vaishasham vaishasam syadeva yattakar syad eva yat karmani na samhitam karoshi phalgav api uru tina vatsala swa eva dishnay abhiratsaya kimtaya. So the translation is, my dear Lord, now he's again explaining his position. My dear Lord of the universe, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi is the mother of the universe, right? He's making his point clear, right? As we see in the last verse. And yet I think that she may be angry with me because of my intruding upon her service and acting on that very platform on which she is so much attached. Yet I am hopeful that even though there is some misunderstanding, you will take my part. I mean, he's now, for you are very much inclined to the poor, and you always magnify even insignificant service onto you. Therefore, even though she becomes angry, I think that there is no harm for you because you are so self-sufficient that you can do without her. Now, this is where Pritumaraj is explaining that uh, that he's actually first glorifying Lakshmi Devi as the mother of the universe, right? And he's saying that it is all right that she might get angry with me, and because I'm trying to intrude upon her service, but but what he is hopeful is that the Supreme Lord will side with him. And why? Because he is I mean, he's giving very insignificant service, right? And the Supreme Lord is Dina Vatsala. So somebody who is rendering insignificant service, the Lord actually magnifies it, and he's very happy actually, even with people who do insignificant service to you. And you will actually side with somebody who is doing an insignificant service to you. Lakshmi Devi is very exalted, and she serves you very nicely. I am a very insignificant person, a Dina, and you are a Dina Vatsala. So you will actually side with me, and he's also actually kind of instructing the Lord that there is no harm even if Lakshmi Devi leaves you. But this is all from a perspective that he wants service from the Lord, right? And so that is what is the point here. And he's saying that you are self-sufficient, and even if Lakshmi Devi gets angry, there will be no harm for you, right? So that's what is the point here. Uh, and Lakshmi Devi is Chanchala, right? So she does not stay at one place, right? So she's called Chanchala, correct? Any questions here? No. Okay, let's move. uh, so bhajanti ta atha tvam ata eva sadhvo yuddhasta maya guna vipramodayam bhavat padanu uh, padanu padan भवत्पादानुस्मर स्मरणानुधृते सताम निमित्ताम अन्याद भगवान न विद्महे. Okay, let's look at the translation. Anybody want to read the translation?
Prabhuji, I want to try, Prabhuji, if it is okay.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Bhajanti atatvam ataeva sadhavo yudhasta maya guna vibramodayam bhavat padanusmaranad rite satam nimittam anyat bhagavan na vidmahe. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
So great saintly persons who are always liberated take to your devotional service, because only by devotional service can one be relieved from the illusion of material existence. Oh my Lord, there is no reason for the liberated souls to take shelter at your lotus field, except that such souls are constantly thinking of your feet. So he's just trying to convince the Lord that why I want this service, right? Because the liberate, I mean, he's saying that this is not just my prayers that I want to serve your lotus feet. This is the prayers of all the liberated souls in the universe. This is not just my prayer. I am not just asking, I am not the only one asking for this service, But uh, any liberated soul or any person who is liberated want to take this service, and that's why this is not just my request, but it's the request of uh, all the liberated souls, right? So he's trying to convince the Lord to please give me this service, and that's what he's putting a point further, that this is not just my prayers, but the prayers of everybody who wants to, who are liberated, and they want to take shelter of your lotus feet, right? uh, Correct. So he's trying to put his point across to the Lord, that please give me this service, so that I mean, he wants to basically be there at the lotus feet of the Lord, right? And then finally he understands, right? Like manye giram te jagatam vimohinim varam vrishne veti bhajantam atah yat vachanu tantya yadi te janosti sita katham punah karma karoti mohitah. Uh, Translation: My dear Lord, what you may have said to your unalloyed devotee is certainly very much bewildering. The allurements you offer in the Vedas are certainly not suitable for pure devotees. People in general, bound by sweet words of the Vedas, engage themselves again and again in the fruitive activities, enamored by the results of their actions. So here he is out of his sweetness, actually. Pritumaraj is telling the Lord that that uh, what I mean, the Vedas. I mean, he's trying to tell the Lord that the Vedas are uh, giving allurements, and I'm not interested in all those allurements, and these allurements are very much bewildering, and I don't want to get attached to those fruitive activities. So please give me service at your lotus feet, right? That's again trying to bring out his point, right? That why he wants this service, so that I don't get allured by these fruitive activities, and I'm not interested in these Vedas or other, the flowery language, as even in Bhagavad Gita the Lord says that the flower, do not get bewildered by the flowery language of the Vedas, right? And uh, become free from attachment. So that's what here also Prithu Maharaj is saying, that and saying that I don't want to get involved in fruitive activities. So please give me the service at your lotus feet. Okay, let's move ahead. त्वान्मया अद्धा ज्ञान ईशा खंडितो यद अन्याद अशता ऋतात्मनो बुधा यत् चरेद बाल हितं पिता स्वयं तथा त्वाम एव हर्षि न संहितुम. So he is now concluding his prayer, Prithu Maharaj. Now what he's saying, this is very sweet, actually. My Lord, due to your illusory energy, all living beings in this material world have forgotten their real constitutional position. And out of ignorance, they are always desirous of material happiness in the form of society, friendship, and love. Therefore, please do not ask me to take material benefits from you. But as a father, not waiting for the son's demand, does everything for the benefit of the son, please bestow upon me whatever you think best for me. So he has, I mean, this is where, this is how we should actually pray before the Lord, right? That I may have asked for something, but then I mean, I am your son, and as a father, please give me what is best for me. And so he has asked for this service of his lotus feet, and he thinks that maybe I've asked too much. So what he's telling the Lord is, okay, I have demanded this, but then you give me what you think is best for me. So this is what should be uh, our motivation or our mood in when we pray to the Lord. You can demand anything from the Lord, but then we actually tell the Lord that give me what is best for me finally, right? And that's what Pritumaraj is also saying the Lord, that I am your son. I mean, as a small son, treat me as a son, and give me what is best for me. You will always do good for me. You are my father, and the father always does good for the son. So give me something which is beneficial for me. As I said, right, this is a very practical way of praying to the Lord, right? We may even, I mean, in our day to day life we always get problems, so we can take those problems to the Lord. We can ask him to solve those problems for us, but finally the mood should be that, okay, I have asked for this, but you give me what is best for me, and not just I mean always demand. So we can even take our problems to the Lord, but the mood should be that, the Lord, please do what is best for me. You are my father, and you will always do the best for me. So this is what makes this prayers actually, I mean, the prayers of Prithu Maharaj so very practical, right? That he has asked for the highest, right? He has asked for, I mean, he's demanding a position where he can serve the Lord like Lakshmi Devi. But then finally what he's saying is, okay, I have demanded this, but give me what would be the best for me, right? So this actually is the conclusion of his prayer, that I've asked for something, but give me something which is beneficial to me, beneficial for me, and which will take me to the goal where I can serve you better, right? So, so the Supreme Lord became very happy with the prayers of Prithu Maharaj, and then this is what Maitra Rishi says to Vidura. uh, Iti adi rajena nutasha vishwadrik tam aha rajan mai bhaktir astute दृष्ट्रे दृशिधिर मयि ते कृता यः मयम मदीयां तत्राति स्वा दुष्टज यजम. So the great sage Maitreya continued by saying that the Lord, the seer of the universe, after hearing Prithu Maharaj's prayers, addressed the king. My dear king, you may be blessed. So the Lord is now giving him benediction, that may you always be blessed by engaging in my devotional service, right? So here, tvam aha mai bhaktir astute, right? This is what the Supreme Lord is giving him the benediction, that you be blessed with my bhakti. uh, Only by such purity of purpose as you yourself very intelligently express can one cross over the insurmountable illusory energy of Maya. So, so finally, Prithu Maharaj got what he wanted, right? Mai bhaktir astute, right? This is what the Lord gives the benediction to Prithu Maharaj, that may you be blessed with my service, right? So this is how we pray to the Lord, and this is how the Lord even blesses the devotees. So this concludes the prayer, but there is one more important thing of the last verse. uh, and what does the Lord says? Tatvam kuru Tatvam kuru mayadishtam apramata prajapate mad adesha karo loka sarva sarva sarvatra apnoti shobhanam. So the Lord says, my dear king, O protector of citizens, henceforward be very careful to execute my orders and not be misled by anything. Anyone who lives in that way, simply carrying out my orders faithfully, will always find good fortune all over the world. So this is the formula for being happy in life, right? You just carry out the orders of the Lord and his representatives, that is the Guru. So if you do that, there will always be peace and happiness, and that's what the Lord is saying. Mad adesha karo lokah, right? Sarvat Sarvatra apnoti shobhanam. Shobhanam means happiness, right? So is good fortune everywhere, and that that is, and then the Supreme Lord basically disappeared after blessing Prithu Maharaj. So these are the prayers of Prithu Maharaj. So this is what we saw, that Prithu Maharaj, how did he pray to the Lord? He started by saying that I want the beverage of your uh, the lotus feet, right? And then how do I get that? I want million years to be able to enjoy or relish the nectar. And uh, and how is that beverage coming out? When the devotees of the Lord speak about the glories of the Lord. So for us, we must always hear. That's where the hearing has so much importance. Hearing and association of devotees has so much importance when we want to make progress in bhakti. With that, I would like to stop here. If there are questions and comments, I'm sorry I'm not good at reading the shlokas, and I may have been very, very repetitive. But please forgive me for that. Uh, Hare Krishna. Any questions, comments, feedback?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Prabhuji.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Wonderful class, Prabhuji. Actually, you took a nice topic actually of Prithu Maharaj, and actually you have started with hearing. He started Prithu Maharaj hearing in the association, and you have then taken us to actually his service, devotional service, what he was asking us, requesting the Lord to give actually the service of lotus feet. It is lotus feet, which is the service of Lakshmi Devi. Yeah, one question, Prabhuji, what I would like to ask is, he was actually started with hearing, right? He said that millions of years
Yes.
he wanted to hear in the association of devotees, and then he was requesting for lastly for the devotional service, right? So how we can link this to his Prithu Maharaj, you, as you said, the example for deity worship. So how can these we all link with all these things, Prabhuji? How can we understand this, Prabhuji?
So, Prabhuji, basically by hearing, I mean, if you, even in our material world, right, we hear about something, and then that's where we develop attraction, right? And once we develop attraction towards something, we may want to basically either meet them or serve them or know more about them, right? So even in the material world, everything starts with hearing only, right? You hear about somebody, and even in your office you might hear that somebody is very intelligent, right? It starts with that, and then you may want to associate with them, and then you finally, once you develop attraction, finally you want to serve them, right? So that's how it's all linked, right? With hearing you develop attraction, and once you develop attraction you want to serve. So that's where this is how, I mean, that's how I understand. Maybe somebody can correct me and put better point here.
So you're serving personally to the Lord, and the serving the deities. We can understand the same, right?
Correct, Prabhuji. So once we hear, we will develop attraction to serve the deities also.
Okay. And one more question, Prabhuji. Please correct me if something is wrong in my question. Actually, how does this Vela was a descendant, right? So how this impious person born out of pious person, Prabhuji? How can we understand this actually?
So
Because he was
Prabhuji,
cruel and all, right? Yeah, and he was killing the citizens and the other sages and all. So how we can understand this, Prabhuji?
yeah, that's Prabhuji. Actually, uh, if you read, I mean, he was born, I mean, he was born after a yajna, right? We generally see that when you do a yajna to get something, and the yajna was done to please the Supreme Lord, and he got pleased, and then he got this son, right? But the problem here is that he took uh, the qualities of his maternal grandfather. And Sunita, who is actually, Anga Maharaj is very liberal, right? He gave all the payasam to Sunita, and Sunita is daughter of Mrityu. And Mrityu is, I mean, like, death is cruel, right? We see that, right? So he took the uh, the qualities of his maternal grandfather instead of taking the qualities of Anga Maharaj, and that's why he was cruel. And we can even think like this, Prabhuji, that it is I mean, it it can also be a will of the God, so that glories of Prithu Maharaj and others are brought forward. But my understanding is that he took the qualities of his maternal grandfather, and that's why he was very cruel. Though he was born, and Anga Maharaj actually tried to reform him at every step, but he just gave up because the situation became beyond his control. So the difficult situation was such that he just simply said, I cannot do anything, and he left the kingdom. So so that is what, I mean, that's my understanding, Prabhuji. And if
Okay. Nice, Prabhuji. Nice. Very. You have given nice background, or you have given the whole background of the Prithu Maharaj. Actually, you started with that, right? And you covered so many chapters actually in one session, so that we can understand. And then finally, you ended with the prayers of Prithu Maharaj. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. You have
Prabhuji,
emphasized again
I
on
will tell you
association.
no, I will tell you the reason I covered so much, because I did not have, I mean, to be very frank, my study is very, very shallow. So I don't have the I don't have those realizations or anything. So, and that's why I took the background, so that at least, I mean, at least you, I mean, if the prayers of Prithu Maharaj are pretty independent. Even if you don't give the background is not that important. So you can just, but then I did not have, I mean, I did not have very detailed understanding of these prayers, and that's why I took that background as well. To be very frank.
Yeah. Nice, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Wonderful.
Hare Krishna, Shreegopal Prabhuji, thank you very much. Dandavat Pranam. Actually,
Dandavat
Prithu
Pranam,
Maharaj
Prabhuji.
story is such a nice story that, you know, how many other times you hear. It's a very beautiful revelations that you can hear in many ways. I think we have heard Prithu Maharaj story in this series itself many times, but still there are so many things to learn, understand. Maharaj Vena, then Prithu Maharaj comes, and then he tries to punish Mother Earth. Then there is also quarrel, or the dispute with the Indra. There's so many things, and Lord Vishnu comes to pacify both. There's so many
Yeah.
things to learn from each of these stories. And Srimad Bhagavatam is filled with these prayers. Which is one thing that
Yes,
I'm
yes.
also like kind of connecting the dots is all the Bhagavatas that we hear about have the prayers in them, like starting with Kunti Maharani's prayers, right? We have Kunti Maharani's prayers, Prithu Maharaj prayers, Prahlad Maharaj prayers. That is like, after a full canto, a lot of chapters and a lot of them, and then each one is in Gajendra's prayers. All these prayers are so beautiful, and that are like, in this, and then the more you read, that Shravanam is very much highlighted everywhere. Even in Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, I think starts with touch Runu, like start hearing, right? And Prahlad Maharaj's sloka about 9 devotional services starting with Shravanam. Shravanam is very important vision. That's why I think Srila Prabhupada has put this nice curriculum in place to hear Bhagavatam every day without fail.
Yes.
And
And
without that,
Shravanam in association of devotees, Prabhuji.
yes.
I mean, we cannot. I mean, you may hear lectures from on YouTube or others, but when you sit with devotees and you do this Bhagavad Katha, that is where you. It is more. I mean, it's not that what you hear on YouTube is bad, but when you sit with devotees, if you get a chance to sit with devotees and hear, that is much more relishable actually, and that's what
Yes.
Pritumaraj is also saying.
Yes, Veera, that's 100% true, because hearing in YouTube is different. You taking a book and studying is different. Another person with you is another revelation, and then a group of people, devotees, has completely different reflections you get, and it's all in the potency of like the scriptures themselves, and of course Srila Prabhupada's purports. Beautiful lecture, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for taking time to giving this lecture.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So we'll close.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Pancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namah. The Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare